And then I decided to use my advanced degree in biochemical engineering. There is our central locking module. So definitely ruined by the water. Wonder how that got in here, because there's no, like, I don't think there's any, like, even way over in that corner, there's a big deep thing, and it's not wet at all. It's not wet over in that one, but it's wet right here in these two center things. Very strange. So there's some plugs right here. I guess I'll pull those plugs and let that drain there and there. I'll back it out first, and then we'll have to get into this and get some part numbers off of there, so if we can see if we can find this stuff. Well, but this car is not gonna go to the bathroom anymore. Now I'm gonna get this one. So now we will just let all that drain, let it air out really good, clean it good, and get this thing out where we can see some numbers. Oh, there's the, okay, so this pad just kind of wraps around it. Yeah, it's completely soaked. So to see, these yellow lines are air lines, I think. So there's a pump that runs all these locks. So there's one like right here going to the fuel door. That one right there. So that had air, it would unlock the fuel door. All right, so that's what it looks like. That's the pump. That's where our air lines go in the top. There's our electrical connections. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4 plugs. All right, so taking the wiring, got the battery unplugged, taking the wiring out of this thing, and check it out. Corrosion. So I need to get all that corrosion off somehow. First I need to get it out of the car and get it out in the sun and let this thing actually dry out. So I have it out, so I can get the part number off of it there. Check it out, Mercedes-Benz. So listen, there's water in it, so I'd say it's definitely shot. So here's what's inside on these things. There's the pump part, and this is all circuits. It's got nasty crud growing on it, so I'm not even gonna, even if it started working, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it back in there because it could croak at any time. So we'll definitely start trying to find another one of these. So here's kind of this, what they're calling this central locking vacuum system for this car. So all these lines in here are going to each lock. So the trunk, each door, and the fuel door. And this item right here is our pump that's messed up. They're just calling it an actuator. Power door lock actuator. And so there's what my cost is on it if I buy it new from a dealer. So I'm going to be looking for that to use from a salvage yard or eBay or something. One that's tested and make sure it works. And I get that coming.
This is Chris. He was our last t-shirt contest winner. You too could win an incredible t-shirt like him, and your life could change forever. You could be cruising down your favorite back road with the windows and top down when all of a sudden a thunderstorm appears out of nowhere. Luckily, you have incredibly fast reflexes and are able to pull over and put the top up in less than 8 seconds, keeping yourself and your interior dry. You are about to pull back onto the road when you notice a car on its side at the bottom of the hill below you. You jump out of your car to see if anyone's in trouble when you hear the faint cries for help coming from the car. You sprint down the hillside and arrive to see a woman and child trapped in the car. The thunderstorm has made a nearby river rise and it's filling up with the car with water. "Oh no!" you exclaim. You summon all the strength you and your t-shirt can muster and flip the car back up on all four wheels. The woman and child are saved and insist on repaying you for your heroic acts of kindness. The woman's name is Susan. She calls her husband, Robert Downey Jr., and tells him about what you've done. He thanks you immensely and insists you take his Audi R8 as a gift for rescuing his wife. The point is, this shirt could change your life, but only if you enter. Winning a Rebuild t-shirt does not guarantee that your life will improve in any way. The scenario presented here is merely a possible outcome of an infinite amount of outcomes. Rebuild cannot be held responsible for your bummer of a life should you win the t-shirt. Nothing happens to you. Just know the t-shirt. It's free.
Okay, so now that I've got everything dry back here in the back, it's been sitting overnight. Everything's good and dry. I even found the little air compressor that comes with the car and hooked it up, and it worked, so it wasn't in water deep enough to hurt anything. So the only other thing we have to do to make sure we don't have anything still wet in the car is to get these seats out. And that, so far, is a problem because I've got the ability to go forward and backwards with the seats. I mean, with the back of the seat. See that? So when I push the forward and backwards for the whole seat to go up, nothing. So that tells me that that motor that's underneath the seat got wet and is probably fried, which is not that big a deal as far as replacing it, but you gotta get the seats out. And the only way to do that is to move them forward and backwards so you can get to these bolts, like right here. I feel it, so maybe I can get in there at an angle with some kind of a socket or something, but I really have no idea how I'm gonna get to these back ones. So I'll play with it a little bit and we'll see. All right, thus far, this seat removal business is proving to be very difficult. So I did get in the front both of these bolts out. The problem is getting to the back ones, like I said earlier. So I'm gonna try to mess around with this thing and figure out if I can either get this side panel off or maybe get this seat cushion off enough to where I can get around in there and get to those bolts. So all right, so I've had a little bit of success here. I got these brackets right here. There's a little pin that goes in there and you can move it off of this post, right? Oh, there's the post hole. So now I just need to unhook a bunch of these connections to these wires that are holding this seat down. I'll get those unhooked and maybe I can get the seat cushion out. All right, so here's what it looks like with the seat bottom up. So you can see a little bit of rust on these springs. Those are what go here and give you a cushion in here. The foam is not wet. This is weird. I don't know why why would the foam not be soaking wet? So anyway, I'm gonna try to move, see these gears right here or what run along this track here and move this thing up. So somehow I gotta try to turn those gears. I don't know if that's locked up in that motor. I don't know if I can turn this. All right, so here we go. We are moving forward. All right, check it out. There they are. So now hook a ratchet to those, get them off, and we'll have the seat out. And there we have it, guys. Seat is out and I have 50 cents to show for it. So next is to figure out how to get this carpet out on this side. So while we're going on this side, let's just go all the way and get it all out of here. So I'm sure we have to remove all this trim stuff, but I'll research it a little bit, see what needs to happen here. And here's the seat. Turn it upside down so if there is any moisture in there, it can dry because it's like 90 degrees out here. And there's our defective motor. So we'll get that number off of that. I didn't even tear anything up on the seat frame, so if I can just find that motor, replace it. We've already proved it moves back and forth without any problem. There's no rust or anything that's dealing with the gears or anything like that. So this is where the motor. Check it out, guys. Just 2 days after I ordered it. This came from California. Yep, and there we go. New one right there. Sure it's the same number, 1708-00848. Yep. So that's ready to try, and then we'll go ahead and finish getting the other seat out first and then see what we got to do about the carpet. Right, so got the seat cover off on this side, and you can tell it's a little bit different underneath because this is an 8-way seat. So I've got 2 motors on here that I'm sure are fried. So all right, so there we go, second one. And just like the first one, it's not wet at all on the foam. I mean, you cannot feel any moisture at all in that seat bottom. So did not tear anything up. That's good. So next step is to get all the numbers off all those motors and get them ordered. I decided to go ahead and, I think for what I've seen, the carpet goes up underneath that center console and all the way across the other side. This is like a foam block underneath this carpet, and it is soaked. So yeah, there's water standing in here, so there's no way that is ever going to dry out unless I can get it out of the car. So it looks like all that stuff's going to have to come out to be able to get it out all the way. And I'll tell you why it's been a few days. After I got that console out, I realized that this carpet goes all the way across, not just down here under this back console, but all the way across up underneath all that. So all that's got to come off. So I thought, okay, no big deal, I'll take it off. Well, to get the radio out, you have to have special tools that go in these little slots. They slide in there and they pop a little latch type thing, and then you pull the radio out. Well, I didn't have those tools, and they didn't have them anywhere in town, so I had to order them, and that's what they look like. So there's one that goes on each side. You slide it in there, and I'm getting ready to try it and see how it works. So I slid that one in. Now this is how they go. You just slide it until you feel it and click, and then it just pulls right out. I mean, talk about easy. That's a pretty cool design. So I just have to take that little plug out of the antenna, and then to get these tools out, there's a little push one of those latches. I have to figure it out here in a minute, and it releases those little tools. The picture I'm showing you right now is from the service manual. This shows to cut this carpet right here. So I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. They say you have to take a whole lot of the AC and heat stuff out to be able to get to the carpet up in there, and they say to cut it like right along the edge of this up on the other side of that, but we still have to get this off to be able to get to that point. So I'm going to research this a little bit more, but that's what the service manual says, is to cut it. Alright, so you also have to take the accelerator pedal off, which is just one bolt, but it's hard to get off because of the washer that's usually stuck in there. And this kick panel that was right here has been taken off, and so in the instructions on removing carpet, they say to cut it. You can see the line like right here is where the edge of that piece is, and they say to cut it up here. Right there, and then right up here. And then it's still up above that line. And then when you put it all back, it just is all hidden. So if not, you have to get all that. You can see what they're talking about. All that duct work all has to come out if you had to take all that off to not get the carpet. So you pretty much have to cut it. So dumb design there. All the solstices I've been working on, if you have to get the carpet out, they're in 2 pieces, and you just tuck them back under when you're done. So we'll cut it. All right, so there's one side out, carpet, and there was about an inch water standing in it. I've already sopped up most of it, but so that piece right there, that's a airbag module, little sensor. So I got to order another one of those. I'll go ahead and take that right there off and see what's under it. I think it's just wires, but we need to get a fan in here and start drying all this, and then we'll have to decide what to do with the connections. So we got the airbag module connector right there, and then these that were up underneath the seat. These weren't down in the water under here. That's what sticks out up above the carpet, but I'm sure they need to be cleaned. So I got most of this dried up. I'm gonna leave a fan on it for the next couple days, but I really need to get this. This is a foam piece up here. It's like insulated, probably sound barrier thing, but it's soaked with water too. But I think I can pop all those little wires loose enough to where I can finagle that out around from behind it and get it out in the sun. All right, here's this side. Carpet's out. It's about the same as the other side, maybe a little less water. Had a towel stuffed under there for the last day or so, so it probably sucked some of it up. There's those air lines that go back to that piece that we're getting ready to replace that does the door locks. That vacuum pump with the actuator. That all looks, there's a little bit of foam right there. We're gonna take that metal piece off just to get it up off of that foam, so that foam can be lifted up enough to dry it out. So here's the carpet that I pulled out, and you can tell, I don't know if you can tell or not, this is a foam, like real thick foam, and that's what just soaked up all that water. So it is completely saturated. You can just squeeze it and it just pours out. So it needs to sit out here in the sun. It's been 90 degrees last week, and it's supposed to be this all week, 90. So hopefully if it sits out here for that long, the whole week, it'll dry out. I'm gonna help it along a little bit. I got the tool that my wife uses to discipline me, and so I stole it from her kitchen. And I'm gonna try to squeeze this out. And it does help. Anyway, I'll keep doing that. Get some more water out so that the sun can have a head start. All right, it's been 2 days or 3 since the last time we videoed. So these have been out in the 90-degree temperature for that long, and they're just almost dry. Like if you push as hard as you can on some of that foam, you get a little bit of moisture. So down deep, there's still some in there. So tomorrow it's supposed to be 95, so I'd say that'll just about finish them up. And the next thing we have to do is every one of these connections that was below water, this type especially, I've got these keys we use to remove the wire terminals, and we'll try to remove all that without tearing anything up. It's the hard part. All right, so last night we worked on trying to take this set of wires out of one of the connectors, and of course one of them snapped coming out. So I ordered another plug that has this connector with it. And then I decided to use my advanced degree in biochemical engineering and chemically alter the corrosion on these wires by using white vinegar, table salt. You mix that up in water and until the salt dissolves completely, and then you soak your parts in it for about 15 minutes, and then when you pull it out, they are corrosion free. And then you need to neutralize it by dipping it in some warm water and baking soda for about 30 seconds, and that neutralizes it, and just blow it all out with clean air. And then I'm going to also use some contact cleaner on it, that spray type. But I mean, it really cleaned it. You can see all the shiny ends here. And those were green before, so now I'm gonna try it on this. I've got 2 connections in here. Got this one that's that was underneath the seat, that was just right below the seat cushion. So it didn't touch the seat cushion, but it did get the wires that go from that little motor. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. I can't see. Yeah, there's a little green on there. So I'll soak those in the solution, and we'll see how it looks when I'm finished. All right, so after the full treatment, I have 0 green stuff, no corrosion. Pretty amazing. Stuff does that well. I've done everything on this side and everything in the trunk. And I did these for just to be sure on that. I think that's an amp. I've got to do the other side plugs over there, and then I've already done the passenger seat. They're almost finished soaking now. I already did this one, which was really green, and it's completely clean now. So, pretty impressed with that. Okay, so I'm about to perform the first test here to see if we've fixed anything at all in this car. Now that we've cleaned all the connectors in the floor, on this seat, everything has been cleaned in that solution and reconnected. So I've got the two new motors that I bought, which I'm going to take off of this little gearbox here and put them on the original gearbox when I'm finished, but this will tell us if they work. Now let's see if we move this switch here. Let's see if something turns on. Woohoo! Oh. Oops. Huh. So I got one direction, but not the other. The story of my life. If I have one, this switch works either, I think it's backwards, not forwards. I wonder if the connections in this switch are bad, but I need to get in there and see if they're all corroded. All right, it's been a couple of days, and I went ahead and got another one. Here it is. So we'll put that on here in a minute and check and make sure everything's good on it. And I also got the plug for this piece in here that we had the broken connector. So I will go ahead and get that switched over. And then we should be able to hook up all of our wires back there and get power to it and check and see if the power door locks and the fuel door and all that stuff opens. That's supposed to be the thing that will fix that, hopefully. All right, so I've got the new one all connected and I've got the battery hooked up. And I don't think you have to put the key in the ignition or anything to move the seat. So hopefully this thing moves every direction. Let's check it out. All right, see, that's right there. Would not do that before. We can go back. All right. All right, all directions. So we now have an 8-way moving seat. So that's one problem solved. Next, we gotta do the same thing to the other side. I've got one of these ordered. It's not here yet, but for now, let's go ahead and jump back in here and try to get this. I'll go and hook the battery first, and then we'll plug this, get those wires fixed, and then hook up our central lock system and see if we actually have locking doors. Okay, so there is the new unit put in. All the wires are connected. I've repaired that one damaged end, soldered everything, and I think I'm ready now to give it some juice. Hopefully we can unlock stuff. Here's the key. Here's the unlock. Hey! Voila! Oh yeah! Unlock. Right. So that all works. All right, now I've got this passenger side seat. Got the new motor installed. Need to hook a couple more little plugs in. I've got the new seat controller. Let's test it out here. Forward and backwards. Tilt. All right. That's all the controls this side has. It's just there's only forward and backwards and tilt. So right, so I've got the seats all back together. Everything's wired back the way it was and reinstalled. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start putting everything back in the trunk. All the foam stuff and the styrofoam and all that. That's That's our module. It's all back together the way it was. Went in and hit some, put a little preventive maintenance on that black stuff right there in case it rusts any around those spots where it was low on the water was sitting. So let's go ahead and get this stuff put back in. Well, I had to stop the camera so I could have a conniption fit off camera. So far on this car, the hardest thing to take off or reinstall was this panel right here. Super hard to get everything lined up and get it snapped back in without breaking everything. Anyway, finally got it. So now we can continue on. I already got this carpet piece in. I still got to do that one, and then we'll do the bottom one. Okay, so the trunk is finished and back together. All I got left to do back here is reinstall a light, and I had to buy a new one because the one broke when I was getting it out to start with to break into the car. So got a Mopar one, so I'll get that installed and this thing can be shut. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Rebuild It. If you did, please leave us a thumbs up down below and make sure you subscribe and share us with your friends. This is a t-shirt giveaway week, so if you'd like a free Rebuild It t-shirt like this, just comment below "almost done" in the comment section. And I think we only have one more episode on this Crossfire. Hopefully we've got it on the downhill slope now, and just getting it back together if we can ever get the carpet dry. Carpet is a major problem trying to get it dry, so to get that done, it's just a matter of putting it all back together and checking codes and seeing what's still wrong with it. So I don't think there is anything. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.